Hey everybody, Nick Espinoza, your chief security fanatic here, and today we actually have to talk about eavesdropping on your phone calls because it just got a whole lot easier. This is really interesting. I think this is going to be the future of essentially eavesdropping on cell phones as soon as they perfect this technique. But here's what's going on. Now, obviously, there are many different ways to listen in on a phone call. Law enforcement can get a warrant. You can infect the phone, which can then record things. We saw that with Pegasus and the NSO group, but a new technique is bringing an entirely new approach to surveilling you in real time, and it even has the ability to evade things like malware scanners, and that is an important feature. But we're going to talk about that, but let's talk about this first, because a group of researchers have now developed an attack called Ear Spy, and this is designed to capture what users say through very interesting means. Now, the effort is carried out, or I should say the research effort is carried out jointly by experts at the University of Dayton, New Jersey Institute of Technology, Rutgers, and Texas A&M, and Temple University as well. And these researchers have attempted to gather vibrations from a phone's loudspeaker in the past to see if they could get that. But this new technique is actually more effective, and it works even when the user, meaning you, are holding your phone to your ear and talking, and that's according to Security Week. Now, this research team tested out its Ear Spy exploit by playing a series of voice samples through a OnePlus 7T and a OnePlus 9 mobile phone, both are Android, and analyzed the accelerometer data with several neural network tools and recorded astonishingly accurate results regarding the identification of gender of the speaker as well as the words spoken. Now, by contrast, that type of data was hard to capture on older OnePlus models that they were testing due to a lack of stereo speaker system, and that is according to the paper that they have published. Newer Android versions also, as I mentioned earlier, have more robust security features, making it much harder for malware to essentially get the requisite permissions to actually execute against your mobile phone. But Ear Spy, interestingly enough, can still bypass these built-in safeguards as the raw data from the phone's motion sensors are easily accessible and not really protected. On top of this, more manufacturers are now placing limits on obtaining data from the device's sensors. Ear Spy researchers believe it is still possible, though, to infiltrate the device and eavesdrop on a conversation. Now, as for the effectiveness of this attack, and this is crazy, the researchers are stating that Ear Spy could correctly tell the difference between males and females in 98.66% of the samples, essentially in one particular set played through the OnePlus 7T. Both across both phones, two sample sets, and multiple analysis models, gender recognition is still fairly accurate, but it lowered to a reading of 65.53%, meaning 2/3 of the time across all models they tested, they could tell male or female. On top of this, Ear Spy could detect the person's identity with 91.4% accuracy rate. That's nearly 3 times better than a random guess, meaning you are identifying me, let's say, by my voice, and over 9 out of 10 times, Ear Spy can say, yeah, it's Nick, as opposed to somebody else. Now, when it comes to actually understanding what is spoken, though, the accuracy at the moment falls significantly. Recognition models were tested against samples featuring actors reciting a sequence of digits, not out of place if we're talking about obviously sharing personal identifiable information like a credit card number over the phone, meaning I'm on the phone. I, interestingly enough, literally just did this today as I was ordering something, basically told the person my credit card number and all that information over the phone. It's a trusted source. Don't worry, my tinfoil hat game is always strong on this, but there we go. Now, the best performance of this achieved 56% rate, though, which is still 5 times more than making a random guess on what those actual digits are. If you're just like looking at the person's mouth, and you can't hear them and you're making guesses to if they said 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, this is actually significantly higher, more than 5 times higher. And so this is a huge thing. And what I find interesting about this is not the only exploit that we've seen that is pulling out telemetry and sensor data from mobile phones to figure out various things, such as your gait, not to mention positions, all those kinds of things. And so while we have obviously protected memory and the newer Android phones and all of that to try and thwart malware from spreading or infecting Android phones, also iPhones as well, this kind of output of raw data, metadata on top of that oftentimes isn't protected. And so if you can have an application that isn't acting as malware, but reading this information and then feeding it somewhere else, and then you can put it through an entire neural network of tests and sensors, you start to get really accurate information. Again, we are walking around with these things in our pockets. And so on top of that, we also know, like, okay, my GPS is on, which means everybody from Google to your phone carrier to other entities know exactly where you are at all times. Things can record. We've seen applications turn on microphones and listen as you're talking. So you're talking about your favorite band, and suddenly, guess what? You get tickets advertised for your favorite band. It's those kinds of things. But this is a new animal in the sense that if I'm able to get this onto your phone, I can start eavesdropping on your phone calls with a high rate of accuracy. And you're not going to know this is happening. It's not acting as malware. All it's doing is essentially reading the vibrations of what you are creating by talking on the phone. It's really interesting technology. So we're going to see where this goes, but this is a new hacking technique that as it becomes mainstream, this may be in line with the deep fakes of the world. So we'll see what happens. It's really novel, but I found it interesting, and I hope you did too. And please like, share, follow me here on Facebook and Twitter at NickAESP, and please feel free to subscribe to me at YouTube as well. Ring that bell, and as always, stay safe, stay online, and please attempt to stay private. Thanks, everybody.